Okay. Whee.
Oh, nice. All right. I think we're right on time. So I'm so very excited to introduce Tina Seeley. This is our first Bounce English Teach-a-thon, and we're just so thrilled to have everybody here. If you have any questions for Tina during the presentation, please use the chat feature from the Zoom invitation, and one of us will see your question and make sure Tina gets to it.
That's excellent.
So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over, and we'll get this baby kicked off. Yay!
Okay, thank you, Amy. My name's Tina. I've been teaching for more than 20 years, and I now live in Cambridge, the university city in England. So today, as it says on the screen, I'm going to talk about using articles in English. What a very exciting subject that people have a lot of difficulties with. So the first question, and I ask this myself all the time, why did I choose articles? Why something so difficult? And the first answer to that question, I love grammar. I'm a grammar nerd. I love reading about grammar, talking about grammar, and teaching grammar. I know that's strange, but that's it. The second reason is it's very difficult, and I like difficult. One of the main reasons it's difficult is because many of the languages of our students don't use articles at all. So we've got Japanese, Chinese, Korean. You can see some examples there on the screen. But also, many of the languages that do, such as the Indo-European languages, they use them differently to how we do. So that causes a lot of difficulty for students and for teachers with how to teach them. Now, there are rules to using the right article, and it's useful to learn the rules, but like most things in English, there are many variations to the rules. So that's what we're going to look at and try to clarify some of these particular rules. So, first of all, what are articles? What are articles? Well, they're part of a group that are known as determiners. That means they determine what something is. And so usually they go before a noun. But they can be used with adjectives, which makes a noun phrase. So we could say, today it's a beautiful day. So we've put beautiful between the article and the noun to say what kind of day it is. And the third part is we can look at it about going from the unknown to the known. So if I say, this is a pen, what pen? The pen is blue. Oh, the blue pen. I know which one you mean. Okay. The first type of article is the indefinite, a or an, meaning the number one. So we can use it with things that we can count, but it only means one, so not with plurals. We use a or a in front of consonant sounds. A table, a cat, a car, a European. Ah, but European there doesn't start with a consonant. But if you listen, it starts with a consonant sound of y. So we use a. We use an with vowel sounds. An apple, an elephant, an egg, an hour. Once again, hour doesn't start with a vowel, it starts with H, but it starts with the vowel sound of ow. So that's why we use an. And we use the indefinite article to show that we do not know something. or we're introducing it for the first time. So my example, this is a pen. I have a cat. 2 actually, but that's not the point. I have a cat, a pen, a book. Okay. Now, one thing we need to think about is it will be difficult to hear in connected speech. As you all know, we native English speakers speak very quickly when we're talking to each other. So I wouldn't say, this is a pen. I'd say, this is a pen. This is an elephant. An elephant. Note also the way the consonant and the vowel and the consonant are joining in together with each other. A pen, a pen, an elephant, an apple. I like napples. Anyone like napples? Like napples. Okay, so here we have some uses. So when we mention something for the first time, jobs and occupations. So I am a teacher. My father was an engineer. So with all of our jobs, if someone asks what you do for a living or what is your job, you use a or an. Okay. So let's just have a look at that. So here we have a little written explanation. It's basically what I've just said. An and an are called indefinite articles. They're used to refer to something less specific. They're used to identify nouns that are not definite and specific. That's quite repetitive, yes. Think of a or an meaning any or one among many. I'm sure everyone can look at that. It's basically what I've just said. I wanted to draw your attention to the bit at the bottom where it talks about examples of an, where it says an asset, an essay. And note the linking between the consonant with N and the E, the vowel that starts the next word. That was what I mentioned a moment ago. An asset, an essay, an index, an onion. The words in fluent speech flow into each other. Right, so we got the definite article, which is the, and that's used for more specific things. So it's used to describe something that maybe we've talked about before. I said, I have a cat. So I say then, the cat sat on the mat. The cat on the mat. So it's the specific cat we're talking about. Okay. It's also used to show that something is known or understood information. So for example, if I ask the question, where is the White House? What would you answer? Somebody answer me, where is the White House? You're all shouting out there. I can hear you in my mind shouting, it's in Washington, Tina. Well, yes, it is. That's shared knowledge. People automatically assume that I meant the White House in Washington, where the President of the United States lived. Ah, you didn't know that I knew the White House at the end of my street? No, it's the White House. That's what we call shared knowledge. So we use it before specific things, as I said, or about something that's already mentioned, going back to when I said, this is a pen, the blue pen. Before the superlative, the best students in the class. Musical instruments, the guitar, the piano. Nationalities, the Greeks, the French, the English drink a lot of tea. Family names. Now this is an interesting one. If we're talking about the whole family, we would use the. The Browns, the Clintons. Hotels, the Ritz, the Grand Britannia, I wonder where that is, the Hilton, the Odeon, the Palace. I'm trying to move this up, okay. Cinemas, you can read all of these. Newspapers like the New York Times, the Guardian, the Daily Mirror, the Daily Mail, all of these. With organisations, with seas, rivers and oceans. Deserts, mountain ranges, all of those. And also down at the bottom, before unique people and things, the sun, the moon, the Pope, the President, all of those things, they all use the definite article. These are the rules. Okay. Go back. So there. Okay. Now, with the, one important thing to remember is the pronunciation. When the word after the begins with a consonant, people use the. So the cat, the dog, the table. When the word after the begins with a vowel sound, people use the elephant, the egg. So we have some sample sentences here, and I know I can't hear you, but I want everyone to practice saying these sentences. Okay, so he liked the book very much. The book. The kids enjoyed the play. Each of the 6 roses had bloomed. They were the first people to arrive at the party. So that's all with the sound. And in these sentences we use the E. So she reached the end of Park Street and had to turn around. The indecision of the employees made work difficult. She just watched her favourite movie for the 8th time. He drew the apple in a very realistic way. Okay, so we need to be aware of the pronunciation when we're talking about the definite article. Finally, and the one which causes most confusion, I think, is the zero, when we don't use an article at all. The confusion comes because in many languages where we don't use an article, they do. Okay, so we use it, no article before the noun, used to talk about things in a general, non-specific way. So I like cats. In fact, I like all animals. So obviously my example, I like cats, I have a cat, the cat's name is Ozzy. Okay, so more general things, we would use the zero article. Okay, so, but once again with this, there are rules. And now I know what I'm doing, I can go into my rules. So again here we have, can you see that?
Yes, yep, looks good.
Again, we have a list of uses of the zero article where we don't put anything in front of the noun. People. So whereas we said family names, the Smiths or the Browns, we would say Mr. Smith. Continents. I live in Europe. I teach many students that come from Asia. Most countries, apart from countries which are groups of states or islands. Cities, streets, squares like Trafalgar Square in London, mountains, sports. I like watching all sports. It's got football and hockey here, but I most prefer cricket. With games, School subject, meals. Now, meals is a very good one. The amount of time, many times I've heard students say, Tina, we're going for a dinner this evening. A dinner? Just one? For all of you? That wouldn't be enough for me. So we're going to have dinner. Languages, English, Chinese. I've heard that Chinese is a very difficult language to learn. And before plural and uncountable nouns. Dogs, water, rice, petrol. I need to put some petrol in my car. And when we talk about things or people in general. And at home, in school, in bed. All of those things don't have an article. So it's important when using articles to compare when we use the zero with the definite article. Okay, so finish with a little exercise. Okay. I'm just going to give people a few minutes, a couple of minutes, have a look through and see what article you would put in each of these spaces. I'll give 2 or 3 minutes for that, and then we can look through it. I am aware that we're running out of time, but I want people to at least have a read through that.
Yeah, just to give you a quick time check, we've got about 7 more minutes, so definitely have a little time. Yes.
Oh, excellent. Just another minute or so. Okay, so if we look at the beginning of it, we start with man gets off bus. We start with a man. We do not know who the man is. He gets off. Theoretically, we should say a bus, but we do say the bus as a fixed phrase. I'm going to take the bus today. Okay. And he goes into a bar. We don't know which bar. This is the first time it's been mentioned. Now, man sits at table. Well, now we know which man. So we say the. The man sits at a table in the corner. There are 4 corners in the room, but he sits at a table in the corner. After a while, with the time phrase, a short time, a while, we use a. Waitress. What waitress? This is the first time we've heard about this waitress. So a waitress comes over to, now we know the table again, so the table, and asks the man, because we know which man it is. If he would like, a drink. First time we've heard about this drink. The man orders a beer. Beer is uncountable. However, with liquid, we often use the article in front of it. We're meaning a glass of beer, or in England, a pint of beer. So the man orders a beer. The man likes beer. We're talking generally about the man. The waitress had long blonde hair. We do not use the article there. Many times I've drawn a picture for students with someone with a long hair coming out of their head. We say long blonde hair. She soon brings the beer. We're more specific now. We know which beer to his table. Before he could drink it, he noticed that there was, now we're talking about one. So a hair in his beer. We go here, we're talking about the specific hair, so the hair was long and blonde. He called the waitress over, the waitress, we know which waitress we're talking about, and said there was a hair in his beer. She apologised and bought him another beer, no article. After drinking 4 beers, this is plural. They're specific beers, but we do not need the article there. The man picked up, we haven't heard about this before, a newspaper and read an article about nature. He was very interested in nature and the environment. Later that evening, after going home on a bus, he watched a TV program about lions. Okay, so there we have lots of examples about how all of the articles are used differently. Okay, so if we go back there. So what, in conclusion, what have we, there we go. What have we learned about articles? They're very difficult to learn and very difficult to teach. In my opinion, the best way to learn them is to practice. Practice listening to people, listening to TV, listening to films, and noticing how the articles are used. Again, reading newspapers, reading books, looking at how articles are used in those, and most of all, speaking. Speak as much as you possibly can to practice how they are used. Okay, so that's the end. I have also put on here, I'm not going to try and put it up now because I'm aware that time's getting beyond us. I've put some more exercise to practice, and you're welcome to get in touch with me anytime at this Facebook address.
Wonderful. That was so great. And even as a native English speaker, that was very helpful to understand some of the rules, especially with the indefinite articles and the zero articles.
Well, that's it. Students often get that wrong, and you can understand why, because they use it so differently. Yeah. And the ones that don't have it at all, it's a very complicated area.
That's great.
Were there any questions at all during that?
No, but Majeda gets the gold star for excellent typing and also doing such a great job on that exercise.
Oh, wow. Oh, we've got, yeah, she's got the bus. Excellent. Oh, well done, Majeda. Well done. Oh, the zero article is tricky. Yes. Who put that one?
That was me.
Oh. Oh. Oh, excellent. Yes, you put the White House is in Washington. Yes. Well, not the one that's at the bottom of my street. Well done, Majeda. You're very fast at typing, aren't you? Excellent. Well, if anyone does have any questions, the PowerPoint will be up on the screen, I suppose. They can get in touch with me at on Facebook. Ask anything they would like.
Thank you so much, Tina. That was great. We are going to take a short break before our next session. Thank you again to all the participants. Thank you for joining and participating. We're so happy to have you here. If you can, if you have the ability to, I don't know what I did there. If you have the ability to donate any money to any of these charities or to your local food bank, we would be so very grateful. Our hope is that in partnership with these wonderful teachers, we can help raise a little bit of money for food banks, given some of the shortages in food and nutrition for people during the COVID-19 crisis. So thank you so much, and we will be up next with Helen Eames. So we'll talk to you in a few minutes.